A large portion of the individuals involved in developing this system are debt barons. By essentially, I mean BlackRock in this context. Particular had a really big role to play in the whole COVID monetary situation at the same 2019 Jackson Hole meeting where Mark Carney talked about, the new financial system to come is when BlackRock presented their going direct paper, which was the policy that was followed. Essentially, and exactly when COVID hit, just a few months later, and BlackRock utilizes debt to, increase its profitability and power and ownership of things around the world. And honestly, since D's been such a big part of the control system for a long time, it's, the people that can control the most debt on Wall Street and stuff tend to be the most powerful and the most successful, right? You can tell who's keeping an eye on Bitcoin Zella because of how easy it is to use, whether you're an experienced crypto trader or just starting out. The guy behind the best-selling novel Rich Dad, Poor Dad, oh no, Dad, stay one step ahead of the trends instead of merely following them by subscribing now it's free. Robert Kiyosaki and I would want to use this opportunity to thank everyone who has trusted us. We read every comment. Take a look at today's video and subscribe to Bitcoin Zella to experience the new edge. Digital debt is discussed on Whitney Webb. The future of digital finance and global finance and governance is being shaped right before our eyes. It appears that Larry F. has a strong desire to create new asset classes that will support their current business model for the foreseeable future. One concept that I've been discussing for a while is the concept of natural assets. What they call nature's economy, and one of the groups that has been sort of propelling this forward, at least one of the earlier groups, the Intrinsic Exchange Group, which is the A product of the Rockefeller Foundation and the multilateral development banking system, is you. Has a graphic on their website called The Opportunity, and they show the existing amount of assets in the world economy, and then show what, if we unlock natural assets, how nature's economy, it's like 6 times the amount of existing assets in the economy today. And so as a asset manager, BlackRock having been able to unlock and take control of as many natural assets as possible that aren't currently part of the financial system is obviously a way for them to perpetuate what they do and deepen and expand their control over not just people in the existing financial system, but really over the natural world as well, and essentially turn everything alive into a tradable Wall Street financial product. And the goal is, as F has stated, is to have all of this on a universal ledger on blockchain, presumably, and have it be trackable and surveil, which is interesting if you look at it through the context of risk management, which is something that Larry Fink is very open as having been one of the guiding lights of his whole career. And so by having it all survivable and automated in a sense, he's able to have his risk management AI thing, Aladdin, sort of exercise control over it in unprecedented ways, I think, for their benefit. And then, of course, a lot of what's happening now as we're moving into this new financial governance system is the push to change all of the infrastructure towards this, quote unquote, green, a green model, I guess, or decarbonization, right? Which is, of course, interfaced with the global carbon market, but not necessarily so like it doesn't have to be. But the push is obviously to create a bunch of new infrastructure all over the world. And BlackRock is positioning themselves to be one of the key players in that space. They acquired, I think they're called JIP, one of the biggest infrastructure, developers in the world. And I think one of their top guys at Davos just a few months ago was talking about how they're betting really big on infrastructure going forward, and it's going to be one of the biggest investment opportunities of the next several decades, actually. So I think they're quite ambitious, and if people aren't aware of this, I'm sure they'll get away with it, but we'll see the price of the largest meme coin by Donald Trump after the former U.S. president was targeted in an assassination attempt while speaking at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The price of May Triumph increased by about 30%. According to Dex Screener data, the price of several other Trump assets, including the Ethereum-based Magaga meme coin, surged from $6.31 to $10.36 in the minutes following the assassination attempt, causing its total market capitalization to increase from $293 million to $469 million in under 45 minutes. The new Solana-based Mitecoin also helped Mitecoins rally, while another cryptocurrency called Mayhat saw a 63% increase in value in the hour after the news. Trump TRM saw a 63% increase. In the same time period, Ma had a temporary jump of 21%. At a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, Trump was speaking from the stage when shots rang out from somewhere. We Secret Service agents hurried over to shield him as his security detail escorted him off the stage. Trump then asked them to hold off while he raised his fist and yelled at the audience. The former president is currently receiving medical treatment at a local institution, according to an official spokesperson from Trump's campaign who informed the Associated Press that he was all right after the event. Law police and first responders were thanked by President Trump for their swift action during this horrific incident. In a statement, spokesperson Stephen Chong assured the public that he is doing well and is currently receiving medical attention at a nearby hospital. Other information will be provided later on. In the meantime, re-election probabilities for President Biden dropped from 30% to 15%. With 70% overall odds, Trump has surpassed Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, who both have 15% and 9% odds, respectively, on the prediction market. Trump, who was once skeptical of cryptocurrencies, has recently changed his mind about Bitcoin and other digital assets. In this context, I believe that digital IDs enable surveillance by knowing everyone's transactional activities and being able to adjust micromanagement based on a person's activity. After all, digital IDs aren't limited to financial systems. They can also store information about your health, your job history, and even your travels. Your academic qualifications, the means by which you are able to communicate, online forums, the internet, with the new AI era, right? They can fuse all the data, analyze it, and depending on how they develop that AI algorithm, use it to control people really in unprecedented ways. Well, I think the digital ID and the CBDC and its private sector equivalence project is something that were always sort of intended to be the same system. So there's documents from the UN, from the BIIs, and in related groups that have been working on this for years. That essentially frame one as essential to the other, using words about, this is inclusionary, the whole, marketing behind digital ID is that everyone needs legal ID because otherwise they're unable to access essential services, right? And so the idea is we all have to be included in this system, and they directly link that to the concept of financial inclusion and banking the unbanked, which he brought up earlier, but inherently these systems actually function in an exclusionary way based on how they've been set up. They have essentially said that this will be the only way to prove you legal identity. And so if you don't participate in that system, as far as the state or the private sector is concerned, you don't exist. So by not participating in that system, you're inherently excluded from the economic system and really essentially everything. So you have to onboard to the surveillance state or be excluded from everything. So it's, being marketed as inclusion, but it's really inherently exclusionary. On July 12th, the X social network was aflame with multiple on-chain data outlets and independent analysts announcing that the German government's Bitcoin wallets now have a zero balance, even though Bitcoin price is still limited inside a narrow range with $60,000 as resistance and $54,000 as support. Some in this group are predicting that the price of Bitcoin will continue on an upward rampage now that the market's anticipated sale pressure has been lifted. The recent price activity of Bitcoin can be explained by examining several technical indicators. Bitcoin's decline from $60,000 validated the M-top or double top, and a bear flag continuation pattern has emerged. The downtrend is speeding up with increasing sell volume, and any attempts to break out to the upside are optimally contained by weak by volume. Traders would want to see this pattern broken by a strong high volume push above the $60,000 level, where the 61.8% 5 and axis retracement level resides, and then a few daily candle closes above $60,000 to establish support at or above this level, while market participants' expectation that Bitcoin price can pull off a TR reversal now that the German government has finished its BTC selling is likely to be the new narrative in crypto.